Okay, right. So welcome to this session to all our tech data partners and employees who have joined the webinar. So this guide over here, before we start the webinar, just want to make sure that you all have this app that you have downloaded, especially for our partners who are using to have this in your local language. So I just wanted to kind of leave this on the screen for a few seconds. So make sure that you've got your smartphone, your earphones connected to Wi-Fi, and then you download the app and enter the token that is over here, which is TechDZ14. So it's exactly like this, and then choose your language, whichever is the one that you want to. So you enter your token number, which is this, and then you choose the language, whichever language you want to choose, and then you should be able to connect. Press connect, of course. So I just wanted to make sure you all have that in place and you are able to leverage the language interpretation. Okay. Right, so let's begin now. So hi everyone, I am Angie. Welcome to this session and thank you for joining us here. It's going to be a very quick session, so 45 minutes really, nothing more than that. And as usual, we will record this session that we are doing with HPE on SimpliVity, and we will put this on our Tech Data Channel Academy. So I very quickly wanted to take you through our Tech Data Channel Academy, which is our online enablement tool for our tech data partners. So let me quickly share my screen, and then, of course, we'll also take you through the rest of the agenda, which Chuck and Mauro will share with you as to what topics they will be covering within SimpliVity. But before that, I just wanted to make sure that you know where to access this recording within Tech Data once we have it on board. So let me share my screen with you. Okay, bear with me a second. So here it is. Yeah. Right, so let me just do that. There you go. So this is Tech Data Channel Academy. Shraddha, if you could put this link on the chat section, then we know that everybody has got access to it. All you have to do is simply log in and register, or register if you don't have an account. If you do have an InTouch login, it's simple. It's single sign-on for our partners through InTouch. And we've got an employee login as well here for Tech Data employees. And if you have your standard registration with Tech Data Channel Academy, then you simply click here. So all you have to do is partner login or InTouch partner login, enter your login details, and you come to this part. We will, of course, record this session and send you a direct link in an email where you simply have to click the link and you will come into the webinar. However, if you're coming into the Channel Academy, all you have to do is, if you haven't yet added HPE to your library, you simply go to Add to Library section and choose HPE and then simply register to HPE. So all content from HPE, SimpliVity, GreenLake, all the other different topics that we have for you, you will be able to see that. Once you've done that, once you've registered to HPE, you go back to the portal, which is this here. It's just taking a little bit of time for me for it to register to, yeah, it's here. And then you go to your My Library section. This is where you have now HPE in your personalized library. And then you click HPE and it opens all the wonderful training that we have for you over here. You simply put SimpliVity, which I have already searched, and you search for it, and you have a lot of content on SimpliVity. One of the webinars on SimpliVity we did previously was with Bob DeVita. This is a great webinar So please do take an opportunity to watch that if you want. And we've also translated those webinars into all different languages that you will be able to see that in your respective language. And then, of course, we are going to record this particular one and put it again here for you all to access. So make sure you have the URL for Channel Academy, login, register, and then enter your login details. So that is all around Tech Data Channel Academy. And now I'd like to hand it over to Chuck and Mauro, who will take you through the content. And I do want to say that if you have your questions and queries, whatever is coming into your mind, please put it in the Q&A section that we can pick it up, and Chuck and Mauro, as in how you go through the session, either they'll pick it up, or we could always see what sort of time we have left in the end to answer those questions. So over to you.
Thanks, Angie, and thanks for introducing that fantastic tool. Today, Mauro and I are going to take you through a SimpliVity update, and we put together an agenda for everyone. Mauro is going to go through and recap the SimpliVity features, the key features that we feel set SimpliVity apart from the other hyperconverged products in this space. I'm going to take you through the software update that was just released. Mauro is going to take you into a little peek in the future with GreenLake for HCI, or as we call it, HCI Manager. And then he's going to dive into the data protection options, a couple of new options for data protection, not just in the SimpliVity space, but in the global HPE space. I'm going to take you through the roadmap and the additions to the SimpliVity product family. And then finally, we're going to touch on cloud physics at the end. So I'm going to go ahead and get right into it and cue Mauro up for the overview of SimpliVity.
Yeah, thank you, Chuck. Thanks, everybody, and I'm very happy that after some years after the acquisition, we still have many people that shows interest in this solution. Yeah, this is very, very quick. It's just a recap to, let's say, prepare you for the rest of the presentation. We think that SimpliVity is a powerful solution, and that it has four main blocks of features that are unique in the market, being together in the same solution, and make SimpliVity very powerful and very special in some use cases, let's say. So let's start from the first one. We believe that SimpliVity is unbeatable at the edge because, as you know, is an appliance for hyperconvergence. One building block is a DL380 or a DL325 ProLiant server. And in this block, we provide compute, memory, and storage space. SimpliVity can start even from one node. Of course, if the server will fail, your applications will have to run on another node. But in some use cases, you can still start from one single node. Starting with 2 nodes, you have a full high availability. Full meaning that you can lose some hard disks, in the cluster of 2 nodes up to 3 hard disks for each node, or you can lose an entire node in a cluster of 2, and your data is still available, is still protected, and your virtual machines can run. And you can interconnect these 2 nodes with a direct DAC cable, and so you don't need to connect these 2 nodes to an expensive 10 gigabyte networking switch. And even starting from 2 nodes, all the data services that you probably already know, all the native data protection and data replication features are included. The second block talks about one of the most famous use cases for SimpliVity. You know that you can have several sites or several clusters of SimpliVity nodes. You can combine them in the same federation, in the same group, and you can start creating backup policies that enable you to move, to replicate data between these sites. And this is everything of this is native, is provided by features that are included completely in the standard product. And so you can use these features to back up and protect your applications, even locally on the same site, on the same cluster, or enable a very simple and effective disaster recovery solution, replicating data between the SimpliVity sites. The third block talks about efficiency of the data, because the data that runs on SimpliVity is deduped, compressed, optimized once and forever, meaning that even when you replicate, you move data, virtual machines between sites, between SimpliVity clusters, these data remain optimized, meaning that it take less space, okay, and it takes less IOPS for your storage. And efficiency means not only data reduction, that is, as you know, 10 to 1, as we state in our papers, but is efficiency also from a space standpoint that this solution is going to use in your rack. Okay, basically you can build a 2-node cluster using just 2 units in a rack. So this is a perfect solution, as we said, for branch offices and edge. The last block talks about simplicity. That, by the way, is where the name SimpliVity came from. You don't need special skills to manage this solution. So if you have a branch office, if you have several sites for your company where you can deploy SimpliVity, you don't need to have local IT staff that is skilled on storage, networking, SAN, these kind of things. SimpliVity is very simple to manage because it's managed from vSphere plugin. So basically, you are using the same interface that you used for your VMware virtual machines, and it's very simple to manage because it only adds 4 or 5 actions specific for SimpliVity that enable you to use vSphere and to make aware that vSphere that the virtual machines are running on SimpliVity. So very simple, and by the way, you can manage all the sites, all the clusters of SimpliVity within your organization from a single console. The last block in red is important because SimpliVity works only for virtualized environments, specifically for VMware, but obviously loves Kubernetes, loves containers. So SimpliVity is certified with all the container solutions that you can use on the market. Back to you, Chuck.
Okay, great, Mauro. Thanks for that update. So I'm going to take everyone through the latest release and the enhancements that came to SimpliVity with the 4.1.2 release. In the first column on the left, we added back the dual disk resiliency feature. It was in the original classic models where we could actually have RAID 6 running on the data drives, and with the software optimized version, the design for software optimized was RAID 5 only. And we got a lot of demand from our customers to add back the dual disk resiliency feature. So we did that in 4.1.2. There's no new SKUs for that. It's actually a deployment option. When you're deploying SimpliVity, you can choose dual disk resiliency as one of the options for install. A couple other things that we added, some additional InfoSight server integration. So now InfoSight is not only monitoring SimpliVity, but it's also monitoring the ProLiant hardware with the SimpliVity solution. And then we've enhanced how we do SimpliVity lifecycle management. One of the issues we found from the field was we were asking our customers to have these large bundles in order to update SimpliVity. So now you have the ability to choose the exact pieces or components of firmwares and software in order to update. So I'm going to jump into the next slide because we only have a few more minutes. And I am going to let Mauro speak quickly about the Data Services Cloud Console and how SimpliVity is going to fit into the up-and-coming HCI Manager, which is expected to be released sometime in the Q4 period. So, Mauro, go ahead and give us an overview of the DSCC.
Yeah, thank you, Chuck. Yeah, very quickly, we are mentioning this announcement that is not directly related to SimpliVity, or not just to SimpliVity, but it was a very interesting announcement at the last Discover around ACI and the future of our ACI platforms. As you saw before in the slide, we are mentioning the cloud. Don't be scared to talk about the cloud, because we are announcing and creating a lot of new services that are enabled by a cloud console. This is the name of this console, the DSCC console, Data Services Cloud Console, where basically HPE is enabling a set of new services like backup and recovery, block storage, even cloud physics that we will mention in the future. And specifically, there is a new service around ACI that will be available in the next months. You can go to the next slide, Chuck. Okay, so this will be a service for to run virtual workloads, to run virtual applications. The name can be a bit misleading because we are mentioning ACI. We are mentioning ACI mostly because hyperconvergence infrastructures are becoming more and more popular. So it's a nice name, but in reality, this is going to be cloud management console for virtual environments. So the virtual environments will be a cluster of nimble DACI starting from this product, but it will also be in the future a SimpliVity cluster on various geographies. Okay, you can have these infrastructures installed in your on-premises data centers, in co-locations. And from this console, you will be able to manage all of these infrastructures with different type of platforms and solutions. So I mentioned Nimble DACI, that is basically a three-tier infrastructure, but I also mentioned SimpliVity, that is an appliance-based infrastructure. All of these platforms will be managed from this cloud-based console. And from this cloud-based console, you will be able to manage virtual machines. Manage virtual machines, meaning creating new applications, deploying new workloads. You will be able to manage all of these infrastructures in terms of lifecycle automation, so update them, upgrade them, monitor them, and see what's going on if the systems are healthy. So all of this is, I think, quite nice, talking about VMware environments, but there is something in addition that makes this solution unique today in the market, because from the same console, with the same user experience, you will be able to manage also your instances in the public cloud, starting from AWS. So from a single console, the customer will be able to manage his vSphere and AWS deployments around the world with the same policies and with the same user experience. We mentioned this because it's ACI, and because as we will see in the roadmap, SimpliVity will be part of this platform. So back to me, actually. Okay, talking about data protection options. We added these slides because we wanted to recap what are the data protection and data management features that are available on SimpliVity. They are native from the product, but we wanted also to mention you that now with this data services cloud console, you have other options to cover all of the needs of your customers. So we mentioned already that SimpliVity has native data protection features integrated in the product. You can configure backup policies to backup the virtual machines on the same cluster, on the local cluster, or to replicate these virtual machines to another site. And by the way, you are able also to automate this replication and disaster recovery process. You know that some time ago, I don't remember, 2 years, 3 years, 4 years, we added the HPE StoreOnce appliance as an additional target for SimpliVity backups. Okay, so you don't need to have another SimpliVity cluster to backup or replicate your data. You can also use a secondary storage like StoreOnce as a target for your backups. Of course, this is mostly in case of archiving or to back up your data with long or very long expiration dates. Okay. With StoreOnce, this is possible directly. So having a StoreOnce in the same data center, in the same rack, I would say, where SimpliVity is running, but is also possible when this StoreOnce appliance is installed in another site. So it's possible to back up from SimpliVity to StoreOnce natively or over a remote connection. Okay. Until now, we spoke about SimpliVity native features. But let's see the next slides. What about, for example, if your customer wants to back up these data, these virtual machines that are running on SimpliVity to a different VMware platform, to a 3-tier infrastructure, to ProLiants and Nimble or Alletra systems, for example. You have several options from the third-party partners that we have, but now you have this new option, that is the backup and recovery service from HPE. Is a backup and recovery solution that you can buy as a service, so you will have a subscription, and technically what it does, basically it can back up locally virtual machines from SimpliVity to a secondary storage where there is a data store or an NFS volume. But in addition, it can back up these virtual machines to an S3 bucket, to an S3 target in the cloud, in the public cloud, specifically on AWS. Why this is interesting? This service is interesting because this S3 bucket is completely managed by HPE. So your customer doesn't need to buy from AWS, doesn't need to have an AWS account, doesn't need to manage AWS because is used to use vSphere. And your customer can manage from the same console and with the same backup policies, the backups that are going to be on premises on a VMware data store or NFS, and in an S3 bucket on AWS. Next slide to talk about another option that you have. You know that some time ago, I don't remember, I'm not good at this, probably 2 years ago, 1 year and a half ago, HPE acquired Zerto. Zerto is a fantastic product that is able, with this special technology that I'm not going to explain in detail, to take several point-in-time backups of your virtual machines, and most importantly, is able to replicate this data, these virtual machines, wherever you want. Wherever you want, meaning that if the source is a VMware virtual machine, the destination can be a VMware virtual machine on a different hardware. It can be, this hardware can be from HPE, but it can be from another vendor. And most importantly, can be a public cloud. So let's see the next slide. With Zerto, you are really able to back up and replicate the most important applications, the most important virtual machines of your infrastructure from SimpliVity to AWS, to Azure, to Google Cloud. And you are able not only to back up this data in the public cloud, but you are only able to restore this data back to the original platform, because you are able, in this case, to start to power on your applications and virtual machines in the public cloud. Why? Because the Zerto application is transforming your virtual machine in a virtual machine that can be run, that can be started on AWS and on Azure. Okay, so this is really the Swiss Army knife of backup and replication, and is in our portfolio.
Hey, Mauro, I'm going to
Back
jump
to
to
you.
a question here from Ryan. He's asking, can backup and recovery service be consumed via GreenLake, and how is it priced? So Ryan, backup and recovery service is part of the Data Services Cloud Console, which is which you can get through the GreenLake cloud platform. So yes, it is labeled GreenLake as part of HPE's overarching cloud brand, GreenLake. However, it is consumed as a service. It is a complete software play. And as for pricing, we offer it as a consumption model or as a subscription model. So customers can go out and consume it per VM per day, or they can subscribe to X number of VMs over Y number of years, and they get better pricing with that. So there is currently a 90-day, not your typical 30-day, but a 90-day free trial around this. 5 terabytes maximum for the free trial for your customers to try out. There is a manual process currently in place and to get quoting for that, and we release a rate card to the partner so they can in turn show that to their customer. I encourage you to work with the Tech Data folks, or if you want, Mauro and I can give you additional information on that. The other thing I wanted to mention is backup and recovery service does not.
We just have 5 minutes, Chuck.
Yeah, does not do any egress fees. So with that, I'm going to jump into the roadmap so I don't make Angie really nervous on time. So we went through the initial what's been released, and that exists, that is here underneath the current column. And I think the real big feature here was the dual disk resiliency. One other thing I wanted to point out, we have qualified the NVIDIA A40 GPU with the HPE SimpliVity 380G models. So if you need GPU support, because a number of the GPUs for the G model went end of life, so we requalified the A40 NVIDIA card. So jumping into the next column, which is features that are put under a point of record, which means we assign resources to them. I think the first big thing you're going to see is the SimpliVity 380 Gen 10 Plus support. We're finally coming around to support Gen 10 Plus, which includes the Ice Lake models from Intel. A couple other things coming with Gen 10 Plus will be more GPU support, because now we support PCIe version 4 in the Gen 10 Plus, and we're going to see some additional drive options, specifically with the mixed use drives and those 1.92 terabyte drives. And then we're going to see some additional enhancements to the 325 as well. On the software side, we're releasing a standalone upgrade planning tool to help our customers map out their upgrades as they want to stay in compliance with the compatibility guide. This HCI for GreenLake, these are the features that Mauro spoke about in the HCI Manager, and we're going to see basic virtual machine management first, and then if you look here into the future, we're going to see enhanced monitoring for those VMs as well. A couple other features here, supporting enhanced file level restore out of SimpliVity, as well as security fixes and other fixes coming with the next release. If we jump into future release, we are fully planning to release SimpliVity on Gen 11, which includes the Intel Sapphire Rapids CPU, and additional drive support using those larger 3.84 terabyte drives. So effectively doubling the capacity in the SimpliVity node. And then a couple of additional features, the ability to do online support pack for client firmware upgrades, and some additional things there. I want to jump into the family photo here and talk about just a couple of things. The SimpliVity 380 Classic model is still shipping. If your customer has a Classic cluster, they can add to it either with the Classic model or the G model. Either one will run in a SimpliVity cluster with version 3.7.10 or greater. I'm going to move over here to the 325 column, and I want to point out here that we actually have an additional option for drive count in the 325, which brings it up to 10 terabytes usable by adding that by 8 SSD model.
Chuck, one quick question: if we are using, if we are still using the smart array controllers, and if this is impacting the delivery lead time.
Yeah, the question to that is yes. We are using the smart array controllers. All SimpliVity orders are being marked as the highest priority. So it's we are shipping all SimpliVity with highest priority. Now they are evaluating the Broadcom controller for future release. So yes, that is being inspected. With just the last couple of minutes, I want to jump into cloud physics briefly. The thing with cloud physics I want you guys to come away with is knowing that this tool, it's an assessment tool, a performance monitoring tool, and a compliance tool all built into one. This tool is available free for our partners to use. You can run the tool through a tech data assessment. So the tech data folks, the tech data teams will have access to the cloud physics information that comes from the assessment and can help partners work through the right solution and analyze the information that comes out of cloud physics. So I encourage everybody to look deeper. There are some, I've done some tech data recordings for cloud physics specifically on how to get into cloud physics, how to get an account, and what comes out of cloud physics and what to look for, not just for hyperconverged environments, but for all virtual environments. So those tools are available out there. In the Channel Academy, you may see my happy face doing them, or Nathan Helvey, who came over from cloud physics in addition. So Angie, I'm going to go ahead and wrap it up with that and turn it back over to you. And I want to thank everybody for attending.
Thank you very much, Chuck. And I can see that, Mauro, you have responded to
I'm responding
here. This is fantastic. So, and which is great. So I think there's a question around cloud physics as well, Chuck. So I think it'll be good to have some intro content around cloud physics to put on Channel Academy as well. And then we can, guide users, because as you were just saying that there's cloud physics content. I mean, you've put something together to say how to access that, what's there, and how that works. So we could put all of that here as well. And Mauro's answered everything. That's brilliant. So we are right on time, bang on time. Thank you so much.
Thank you,
Chuck,
everybody.
Mauro.
My pleasure. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you, Angie.
To everyone, this is recorded. We will send you a link to access this through Channel Academy. So yeah, thank you very much. And we will let you know when our next webinar is going to be. Have a good day, everyone. Thank you once again. Take care. Bye-bye.
Bye.
Bye-bye.